My name is Jason Gomez, Ground Ladders, Chapter 8, Fire Instructor 1. We're going to be setting the classroom up in a traditional manner. I'm going to move all these tables around. We are currently renovating the station, so I can't take all of them out because the floor is a little messed up out there. We're going to push them to the side for now. 2 props. I have a dummy and a cutaway ladder prop. We're going to have a slideshow up here. After I get the table all set up, I'll make sure my laptop slideshow everything's working. Then we'll bring the students in and get started. This is an active firehouse. We have 3 people that are off duty along with me, and then we'll have some on-duty crews in as well, sitting in back. So the tones may go off overhead, but the 3 will stay in and we'll stay rolling. I'm also not editing my video, but I am going to take this mic off because it gets really loud when I move tables around. Okay. All right, at this time, we're going to go bring the students in and get started. All right. So, my name's Jason Gomez. I'm a firefighter here at Warrenton Fire. Today we're going to be going over Chapter 8 of your book of Ground Ladders. First off, I'd like to say thank you for coming in on your days off. I know everybody has things to do. During this video, if you have to take a phone call or whatever, I ask you just step outside, do that. Everybody's got lives. Things come up. We get it. Try to keep them away if we're not needing to be on them. There you go. At this time, so right across the hallway here, out these two doors, is the bathroom. Feel free to go as you need. An emergency that we need to evacuate the building, we have a door right here. In the case of a tornado or an earthquake, we will go out to the bay. We'll go to that tool room I showed you beforehand. We'll take shelter in there. That's our emergency safe area. Did everybody sign in?
No, I didn't sign nothing.
All right, well, I'll get with you. We'll sign in after. So, you didn't sign this sheet in right back here?
I didn't sign nothing.
You didn't sign this sheet in right back here? Yeah, you did. Okay. You were signing it in. That's your sign-up sheet right back over here. All right, so let's get started. Beforehand, nobody had any medical conditions, anything like that that you reached out that you needed special accommodation for. So today we're going to go over the essentials of ground ladders. We're going to go over identifying a couple different parts of them, different ways to raise and lower them, and some different types of victim rescues. So the first one we got here is parts of a ladder. I'll use this cutaway as well. But you have the butt spurs down here. Those are the feet, basically. You have the butt, which is the non-jaded part that digs in. You also have your beams. These are the tall pieces that run up the side of it. You have your rungs. Those are the parts that you grab onto and step onto. They go across the middle. This is a roof ladder, and you have a single ladder. These are straight. The roof ladder can be identified with having these hooks on top. They can twist those out so you can latch it onto a roof, anything like that you need to hang it from. Along with those, you'll have a truss block, and then you'll also have, we'll get into it in the next one, you'll have this heat seeker sticker here that goes along with your maintenance, making sure that everything's good. If that thing is delaminated or activated, basically means that the ladder was exposed to too much heat and it could be compromised and needs to be taken out of service and re-inspected. Okay, on this one you have an extension ladder. You can have 2 or 3. This here cutaway is a 3-section extension ladder, as you can tell, because it has 3 sections. Each one of these sections is called a fly. This is going to be that. Okay. So you have the bed section. That's going to be your bottom, biggest, most outer layer. Then you're going to have your intermediate, middle, or first fly section. And if you have a 3 section, you'll have the top, second fly section. That would be this one up here. All right, some ladders will have feet. Generally, these aren't used as much in the fire service. Some of them may or may not have them. These articulate back and forth so that you can get them pressed into the ground as properly. Oh, you also have a halyard for an extension ladder. That's what you'll use. It's a rope on a pulley system, and that's what you use to raise and lower the ladder from the ground. All right, so we're going to describe the safe practices for using a ladder. You're going to develop and maintain upper body strength. Basically what that means is you want to make sure you lift with your muscles, not just your back, engage your core, all that fun stuff. Certain departments have different operating guidelines, SOPs, stuff like that. You're always going to want to maintain those. You're always going to wear full PPE while handling and working with ladders. Everybody thinks it's not going to happen till them, until something does. If we can prevent that, that's always better, because if something happens to you while working with a ladder, you're now no good to that job, and we have to bring somebody else in or rescue or help you. That takes away from the main goal of the rescue or task at hand. Choosing the correct ladder for the assigned task. You have several different ladders. We went over a few today. There's attic ladders, the extension ladders, the roof ladders, all that fun stuff, step ladders. What you're not going to want to do is you're not going to want to choose an attic ladder to rescue somebody off of a 2-story window. Not the most ideal, probably not even going to reach. So make sure you're using the right one. You also want to take a big 36-foot extension ladder into the single-story house to get into the attic. It's not going to fit. It's not going to work. You're going to have a harder time. Use your leg muscles, not your back, arm muscles when lifting below the waist. Remember, you want to bend and lift with our legs. We don't want to bend over at the waist and just use our back. That's how you get hurt. That's how you get fatigued.
Is an attic ladder just like a single section that goes from the floor to an attic opening, roof, or the ceiling?
Yes, so basically the attic ladder, it'll fold up smaller so we can carry it into the house. You can get it into the attic opening, and then you can unfold it and open it up. Fits in there. Doesn't hold a lot of weight. It's mainly going to be for one person, but it's something that we can get in there. It leaves the opening that we're going into more area to work, so that if you have your pack on and stuff like that. Good question. All right. Use an adequate number of firefighters to carry and raise. Everybody's big and strong. Everybody thinks they're the toughest man in the world. Get it. Again, it doesn't help us if you get hurt on the job. If you're not of use anymore, now we're one man short of what we already were short, and now you have also an underlying injury that you might have to pertain to. Do not raise within 10 feet of electrical wires is going to be your guideline. I like to say 20 to 15 at all costs. If you have to, circumstanding, at least maintain that base of 10 feet. So you're going to secure the tip, anchor foot during training and emergencies. So what that means is we're going to tie off the ladder so that it does not fall, move, tip, something like that. So if someone's working on it, they do not get hurt. When we extend the ladder, we're going to grasp the beams while extending or retracting. So on this triple section, you're going to grab these outside ones. These are the ones that do not move. These two sections slide up and down. You don't want to grab those if you're going to be moving it up and down. Ensure the hooks and the pawls are seated over the rungs. That's going to be these locking mechanisms here. So right now, it's not seated. If I let go, it will fall. You don't want that to happen. You want to make sure you go up, and you want to visualize that they come down and set back down on it. That's going to give you the basis that it's on there, and it's locked in, and you're not going to go tumbling down the ladder when you're standing on it. All right, we're going to ensure the ladder is stable before we climb it. You can check that with many different ways. You can stand on it. You can kind of give it a little rock, make sure it's not tipping side to side. Again, it should be anchored at best case scenario. If it's not, or before you can anchor it, you want to make sure it's sturdy to the best capable abilities. Use caution when moving ladder sideways. When you're moving a ladder sideways and it's up in the air, your leverage is now down low, very top heavy, very easily to sway, tip, fall over. It can hurt you, it can hit something, it can hit somebody else. If it goes, don't try to catch the ladder. Everybody's going to want to try and catch it because you don't want to do it and watch it fall. Let it fall, announce overhead, try to give warning the best you can. Never overload the ladder. One firefighter for every 10 feet or one per section. So in this ladder, it's a 3-section. Technically, you can have 3 firefighters on this. You're going to try to limit that as much as possible, but in some cases, you're going to have to, and that's okay. Just don't exceed 1 firefighter per section. All right, using a leg lock, ladder belt when working from a ladder. We can go over these once we actually get up on the ladder. There'll be some slides in here to show it. Basically, you're going to stick your leg through it, through the rungs, come back down and lock your foot under the lower rung. That allows you to work connected to the ladder. If you were to lean back, you're not necessarily going to fall off of it because you're now leg locked to it. You also have ladder belts. Those ladder belts will go around you, and they have a big carabiner. You can clip them into the rung of the ladder so that if you were to go back, you can work freely. You don't have to hold on with your hands at all times. Relocate positioned ladders only when ordered to do so. So if somebody throws a ladder out a window. If the engineer from my truck throws a ladder to the second story window and they say over the radio that there's a ladder at the AB corner window, AB corner window, I'm going to know that that's ladder's there. Don't just go grab that ladder because you need it to do something else. You need to make sure that it's relocated properly by either command, the interior crews know, making sure everybody's aware, because if I think that ladder's there and it's not and I go out it, it's bad for me, it's bad for you, we get in trouble, we look goofy, and we can get seriously hurt and injured. Use ladders for intended purposes only. We're not putting ladders from table to table to make bridges and walk across openings and floors. That's not what they're made for. They're made for their weight up and down. They will load test these ladders when they get tested annually, and they will drape them across, put weight on them, make sure that they can hold the weight. They do that for the reason for us in case something were to happen. These are not bridges, they're not walkways. They're to get up and down from different levels. Inspect damage and wear after each use. So you run a call, you run a fire, this fire was below it, or the ladder was to the second window, there was fire coming out of the window below it, that ladder may be damaged. When you get back to the station, go over it, check it thoroughly. As long as everything's good, clean it up, put it back in use for service. If not, take it out of service, notify your command, or your chain of command, so your captain on duty, the person above you, make sure you retain that to the other crews. Replace that ladder if you have one with an appropriate ladder from your surplus of ladders. You also want to make sure that you document that that ladder is out of service. You do not want to take a ladder out of service because it is damaged. Leave it off to the side. Somebody thinks that it was just used and forgot to be put back on, then they put it on there, and now we have a fatality or injury that can occur later on. Again, secure unattached ladders to a stationary object. You can do that at the ground. You can do it up at the top. We're going to talk about budding ladders as well. It doesn't always have to be tied off with something. Sometimes we will secure those ladders with ourselves. All right. Ladders coming in contact with power sources may result in electrocution of anyone in contact with the ladder. They're metal. They conduct electricity. Everybody knows electricity does not feel good when you get shocked. So let's avoid that at all costs. That goes back to that 10-foot buffer window of any wires overhead. Sliding down a ladder either feet first or head first, even in an emergency, is unsafe and may result in serious injury or death. We don't do it. It looks cool. It sounds cool. It looks fun. Sounds fun. It's not practical on the job. It's not something you want to do. Again, serious injury or death, and then the job at hand is now paused to rescue you or somebody else. Safety when lifting and lowering ladders. Movement should be smooth and controlled. All right, that means you don't want one person going one way and the other going the other way, and it's all discombobulated, and you drop the ladder or you don't do it appropriately. Teamwork is going to be very important. You want to talk to your team. You want to talk to your members of your team. Make sure everybody's in unison. The game plan is the same. Use the correct number of firefighters for the lift. Sometimes it'll be 1, sometimes it'll be 2, 3, 4, as many as it needs to take that to move that ladder. Generally, you're going to be around 2 to 3 for those bigger ones, 3 to 4 for the bigger ones, 2 to 3 for the smaller ones, and then your single ladders, your roof ladders and stuff like that are generally going to be carried by one person just because they're lighter. They save that working load limit. Everybody can probably lift one of these ladders, move one of these big ladders. Just because you can do it don't mean you need to do it. Again, you take a risk of getting injured. Bend at the knees, keep the back straight as possible, and lift with your legs. We do not like bad backs. We already have bad backs from the packs we wear. We already have bad backs from all the lifting we do in a number of calls and different scenarios. Lift on command of the firefighter who can see the members of the team. So you're going to have one guy that's basically going to lead that team. That person's going to kind of make sure that this is the way we're going, this is the way we're doing it, this is how we should go about it. Lifting should occur in unison. Again, that goes back to movement should be smooth and controlled. Teamwork is important. You don't want one person lifting it while the other person's already standing up there holding it. It could throw them off balance, make them fall. It could also mess up your lift and cause you to drop, stumble, or fall. Lower ladder using leg muscles, keeping body and feet correctly placed. Again, guys, a lot of this stuff is going to be a little bit repetitive. It's just to get those main impacts of keeping everything safe, making sure everything lasts for the whole job, making sure you're not hurt, all that fun stuff. So if I do sound like I'm repeating myself, just know that it's probably because it's important. All right, so the review question. Can you guys list 10 general guidelines for ladder safety? There you go. One.
Easy route.
Miss Sue?
Lift with your legs and not your back.
Yeah, probably the biggest, most important one in my eyes.
Use enough people for the job.
All right.
Check for overhead obstructions. 10 feet away from the wires.
Sounds good. All right.
Check the ladder. Makes it.
Again, there's a bunch of them to do. You guys got it great. All right, avoiding electrical hazards. Look up, check for those overhead wires and equipment, just like we just talked about. Look up again before raising a ladder. Just like when you cross the road, you check left, you check right, you check back left. When you're raising a ladder, you check up, you go to get your ladder, and you look up again before you do it. Keep a distance of a minimum of 10 feet. Again, it's my personal experience. I like to keep a distance of 15 to 20 if I can. It's not always applicable. 10 is that minimum that you need to stay from. You don't know what kind of voltage or ampage is going through those lines. Electricity can jump. Just because it doesn't touch it doesn't mean it can't take it to that metal when they conduct electricity.
I'd like to reiterate on that. We had a guy in a boom lift and it jumped over 20 feet from a line. That's why I think 10 feet's way too short myself.
Yep. That's those minimum guidelines. Sometimes, again, you can't always have the most perfect scenarios in the emergency services, but when we can, we try to make those work better to our advantage. So that's a good point. Using alternative raising methods when necessary. So you have the path of the ladder is going to go up this way. You have wires overhead. You have the path of the ladder is going to go this way. This is the modified raised. This is because there's an obstruction there. So if I can't lift it straight over that way, I'm going to come to the side and I'm going to raise it up from the side parallel to the building. There may be times where the wires are coming this way and you can't go parallel to the building and you have to do this path. Either one works. Choose the best one for that scenario. All ladders will conduct electricity, especially when wet, regardless of their construction material. We'll go over it a little bit later. There are several types of different ladders. There's aluminum, fiberglass, steel, wood, all kinds of that. All of them will conduct electricity, and electricity is not forgiving. All right, so positioning the fly section. So your fly is going to be your top part. This is going to be the bed of the ladder. On a metal and fiberglass ladder, the fly is going to be on the outside. On a wooden ladder, the fly is going to be on the inside against the building or structure or anything that you're leaning it against. There have been recent studies going on right now that on most most metal ladders, there's studies saying that it doesn't matter. Nothing's been officially published yet. So we want to make sure we follow those guidelines until we're updated further that it can go either way. That is a good point that I forgot to bring up. All right, so securing the halyard. You're going to secure the halyard and placement before climbing. You don't want a loose string, rope, whatever you want to call it, hanging down when someone's trying to walk around it. You could trip. We're always doing something. You're always walking around. You're probably looking up if you're around a ladder because ladders go up. You don't want to trip over that, knock it down. Closed halyards are already tied. So basically what you see here is this gentleman's, he raised his ladder and he's got the excess halyard wrapped around and he's tying it off. We'll go over that a little later. All right. How can you avoid electrical hazards when raising a ladder?
Staying 10 feet and choosing the path to raise it.
Sounds good. How should the fly of a metal or fiberglass extension ladder be positioned? Outwards, correct. Thank you. Objective 5, describe the process of carrying a ladder. Okay, removing ladders from an apparatus. From a pumper apparatus, 1 to 2 firefighters. From an aerial apparatus, 3 or 4 firefighters may be required. A lot of times those ladders are going to be bigger, heavier. Again, not everybody has the perfect scenario. You've got to do the best of what you have, the most applicable, but these are the general guidelines that you're going to want to follow when at all possible. All right, selecting the correct ladder. The incident command or supervisor usually determines the ladder and ladder placement, but you must be able to select your own. Therefore, your commander, your incident commander should tell you where to place that ladder and what ladder they want. On the off chance that they don't, you need to know the capabilities of each ladder, what they're used for, what their maximum heights and all that are so that you can select that ladder on your own if the need be. When working on a roof or upper stories, there must be at least 2 means of escape at locations remote from each other. So basically what that's going to mean is when you're working at the roof, you need to have another way down. You need to have a backup plan. If option A fails, you need to have option B. In the fire service, we don't like to take risks. We will do those risks when possible, but we like to eliminate all the risks as we can by having an escape route. All right, selecting the correct ladder. So your working location of the ladder, let's say, is the first story roof. Your ladder length is going to be 16 to 20 feet. Generally, your roof ladders or your single section ladders with those hooks, they're going to run anywhere from 14 to 20 feet, give or take. I would say the average that I've worked with are 16 feet. So that's kind of right there in that happy medium range. So working location of a ladder, second story window, 20 to 28 feet. Second story roof on a 2-story residential house is going to be 28 to 35 feet. This is a 30-foot extension ladder before it was cut down for this prop. This ladder was damaged on the top half, so they cut it down, and now we can use it as a prop in these training aids. But this ladder, even though 3 sections, big, heavy, and tall, does not really go that high when you think about the rest of the ladders. It's going to be probably your taller ladder to use. You're going to use it on 2nd stories, 3rd stories, and sometimes 4 stories if you can get it there depending on window location. 3rd story window or roof, 40 to 50 feet. 4-story roof, over 50 feet. So again, that ladder is not reaching that 3rd story window on a traditional house. Some buildings, commercial buildings, they may have bigger windows that are lower. You may be able to reach that. That's where you always want to observe before you put the ladder up. 4-story roof, you're probably going to need a bigger ladder or an aerial truck. All right, selecting the correct ladder length. Total length of a single section ladder and maximum extended length of an extension ladder. So basically the total length of the single section of ladder and the maximum extended length of an extension ladder. So you don't want to grab a 30-foot ladder when you need to go 40 feet. You're not going to reach it. So you need to know that those flies together, what they equal, max altitude or max reach. A single roof and folding ladders are required to have measured length equal to the designed length. This is a bunch of lingo that goes on. They basically have you all the scenarios that they think they have played out. But know your ladder, know how long it is. Generally, most ladders, rule of thumb, your distance between each rung is going to be a foot. So if it's not marked or on the labels, generally if you can count the rungs, you can count the feet. Once you start getting into the extension ladder, sometimes when they overlap, it might throw you a foot off. That's always just a quick reference if you needed to look at it a different way and the sticker wasn't there, vice versa. Extension ladders may be as much as 6 inches less than the design length. So if it's telling you it's 20 feet, it may only go to 19 feet 6 inches. Because of that overlap, to when it goes off, you don't want the ladder to go to the full max fly to reach the other one. That weakens it and that allows it to buckle and close. All right, so working on the roof, 3 to 5 rungs beyond the roof edge. So we have 1, 2, 3. You do have that 4th one right there as a good plant base. If you can get it at the appropriate angle, getting that one up there, it helps you even better. Ventilation, even with the window on the upwind side. Can anybody tell me why we want to be on the upwind side? So you're correct. Fire's coming out, the smoke's coming out. You're going to be upwind from that. If you're downwind, the wind's going to blow the smoke straight into you. It's going to limit your visibility. And if you're on air, that's okay. But if you're not on air, it's going to make it harder to see and now harder to breathe. Rescue. One of the skills we'll be practicing later, tip below the windowsill. That's so that we can adequately bring that conscious or unconscious victim or victims out of the window and securely get them onto the ladder without trying to have to lift once they're outside. You're going to have people inside that are going to help bring them out and straight on, kind of like a slide. You wouldn't want to go to a playground, stand on a slide, and then have to step over an open gap to hit the slide to go down. It's not safe. It's very dangerous, and you can get hurt. All right, note. Anything that's in a note or a warning is probably something very important to remember. Could come up later. Building walls or parapets that extend more than 6 feet above the roof may require the use of an additional ladder to reach the roof deck. You can place a roof or straight ladder on the roof side of the parapet and exit the extension ladder, or next to the extension ladder, and assist firefighters from the roof. So what that means is if you put this ladder up, and let's say the front of this is all covered, and there's a wall back here, and the roof is the ground level here. So there's a wall that comes down. You put this ladder up. If it's over 6 feet, you're not going to want to jump down there. That's when you can have a secondary ladder that you can carry up, place down there. Now, some things that are cool, they are making aerial ladders, a lot of apartments. I believe your new ladder should be in service where we're talking ground ladders, but it is cool that they have these new aerial ladders that come out, and they have a 10-foot articulating tip that'll allow you to lower it down, and then you have the basket and the ladder on the other side of that parapet wall. It makes it a lot easier, a lot quicker, and a lot safer, and a lot less strenuous if you had to carry another ladder up there. But that's what they're talking about basically. So some walls, I know we have one in town that we have to frequently get on the roof. It's only 2 feet, so you can go up, you can turn around, and it's not that far to step down to it. 6 foot, I'm 5'10". It's already over my head, plus you add in all my weight, me coming down hard like that, depending on what's underneath that roof, how well it's maintained, or if there's fire under there, you could potentially go through that roof. Not something you want to experience. All right, maximum working heights for ladders set to proper climbing angle. We're not going to go over all these. We're just going to touch base. Basically, it's telling you that you have a ladder, it's measured in a straight line. When you kick it out at an angle to work on it and adequately climb it, you're going to lose some of that footage. So this is a conversion table for that. So that what that basically wants you to do is you want to get out there, you want to know the working load of your ladder, the working limit. If I have a 16-foot ladder and I have a 16-foot window, unless it's a roof ladder, and you're probably not going to be able to climb it very safely, you're not going to want to do that. But 16-foot window, 16-foot ladder, I'm probably not going to adequately reach that ladder by the time I bring it out. So 16-foot ladder gives me a 15-foot reach. So I'm already a foot short. Every scenario is different. Sometimes it's higher, lower. 28-foot designated length, that's the ladder we're going to be working with today. It can reach a maximum of 27 feet. So just because it says 28 feet doesn't mean you can work 28 feet. Because on the other end of the ladder, just like this at the top, the rung ends here, you're not going to stand on the edge. So you're losing a foot right there. All right. How can you determine the appropriate size ground ladder to use for a situation?
How high are you going to be working?
That's probably one of the biggest ones. So knowing your height, knowing your reach, all that stuff. You're not always going to have a measuring tape. You're not always going to have a number that tells you it there. Getting out, getting familiar with your area, your still area, your different types of egress windows and all that stuff, that's going to help you in the long run. All right, removing a ladder from the apparatus. So several different fire trucks in this district have different ones listed here. Actually, we have all of them. So you have a vertical exterior rack. The ladders hang on these little hooks here. Shouldn't touch the screen. They hang on these hooks here from the outside. They're easily accessible. Generally, they're not latched in on these in the older ones. This kind of style is kind of getting out of date. Some of them may or may not have a latch, but this lower piece is there that the beam will sit in, and that stops it from falling out. Horizontal interior compartments. So we have a ladder truck with that. We have an old pumper right out here in the bay. So we'll pull from there. We have a mechanical rack, our first due engine for this firehouse. That's how it is. It's behind a big billboard, so you don't see it, but it lowers down. Truck looks like a transformer. Kids love to see it. But it's going to be too high for you to get up there, so they're making these things easier to come down, and it'll lower down literally to about my chest. Again, I'm 5'10", so you can be able to grab it, and you're not lifting over your head and all that stuff. And then our old pumper, a vertical interior compartment. It's the same as the horizontal compartment, except the ladders are vertically in there. All right, removing a ladder from the apparatus. Types, lengths, and location of ladders on apparatus. Know your truck, plain and simple. If you're using somebody else's truck, and kind of look at overhand, maybe ask for help, maybe have them kind of lead that task. If you're familiar with it, cool, but know your truck. If you're on it, you should know everything about it. How ladders are stored and nested. You don't want to just go up to a truck and start pulling on it, not knowing that it's attached in a certain way. Always look before you, we like to say, try before you pry. Make sure it's unlatched before you go pulling on it. how one nested ladder can be removed from leaving the other in place. So if a ladder becomes unnested in the compartment, leaning up against another one, it could be stopping you from pulling that other one out. So always check if you're having trouble. You should be able to look down there. Sometimes if it's inside a compartment, it might be dark. We have flashlights. Order in which the nested ladders are. Most trucks are labeled. Some of them may or may not be. So always be mindful when you're taking it out where you got it from when you go to put it in later. Extension ladder slides inside or outside. It will matter based on how it sits, especially if we go back to, you're not going to want to try and hang it on this outside bed because it sits higher. So these are going to hit and they're going to overhang and it's not going to cause it to seat properly. All right, different methods for securing the ladders and the mounting bracket locations. Those goes back to those ones. Again, note, we're going to get to this. Some ladders will have a piece of tape with a space in the middle of it. This is that bracket from 2 slides ago, the vertical exterior rack. They'll tell you in between a lot of times a good labeled ladder where the best place to hang that ladder on there so that it fits properly. You don't want to be hanging too far up here, blocking your access to your pump panel and all that stuff. You don't want to be hanging too far back here that you could also swing and damage anything. These should all be fit and tested and all that before that truck goes into service. All right, moving a ladder from the apparatus, mounted ladders. Unlatched secure devices, like I said, lift the ladder off the bracket. Ladders in an internal compartment. Open the compartment access panel, slide the ladder out, and carry it properly. We'll go over the carries a little later. Firefighter's position on the same side of carrying. You don't want one firefighter on here, one firefighter on the other side. It's going to cause you to get discombobulated and possibly injured. All right, how are ground ladders mounted on an apparatus? What's one way? External hooks, correct, and brackets. All right. So, how are ground ladders mounted on an apparatus in your jurisdiction, Nathan? Externally. How about you, Owen? Vertical. So, we have a little bit of both. Like I said here, our current one is horizontally up on a ladder rack hidden behind a compartment that if you didn't know anything about a fire truck, you wouldn't even know it was there. It also drops down and it makes it into that convenient location of right at my chest, shoulder height. A lot of people are switching to those because it's saving injury, bending over, taking the risk of error, lifting with your back and stuff like that.
Your marking becomes very important because you don't tear the side of your truck.
Yes. Again, so like you said, those brackets earlier, you don't want to be too far in the panel. You don't want to be hanging too far back. Ours has truck on the side, just like you said. So when it goes up, if it's not in that billboard correctly, you could damage the ladder and you could damage the truck. Nobody wants to make that phone call. Nobody wants to listen to the chief yell at you because you did something very, 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 very dumb. All right. Some more safety considerations for carrying a ladder. Avoid the obstructions. I've said it a million times. I'm probably going to say it 5 or 6 more times. Maintain situational awareness of other firefighters and working conditions. Lift with your legs rather than your back. Look ahead and scan for obstructions. Again, that's where those tying up that halyard and all that stuff comes in. We're not always looking at our feet. Sometimes we're looking ahead, we're looking over, we're looking up, being situationally aware. The appropriate number of personnel. So here you go. You have a 35-foot extension ladder. You have 3 people. 2 over there. It's being flat carried. 1's on the other side. You have a single roof ladder being carried by 1 person. We're going to demonstrate this method today. We're going to practice it outside. This is probably a 24, 28-foot ladder, 2 people carrying. And then you have a 4-person flat load. That's probably a heavier ladder. Again, the more people you have, the better. Now, just because you have all those people doesn't mean you want to put 4 people on this little light ladder. That's going to cause a harder time for you to move the ladder, move around. It's going to cause possible injury. All right, safety conditions for carrying a ladder. Work and communicate as a team. Identify who the team leader is. Whoever it is, basically say, I got lead. That's what I like to do. Hey, you're on lead. I got lead. That way that person calls the shot. Just like when we're lifting a patient, person on the head is going to charge, right? They can see down everything. Kind of the same way there. Carry roof ladder with hooks closed. You don't want those hooks open. You can stab somebody, poke somebody, hurt somebody. You can get hooked on something and not realize it, causing you to, again, fall and get hurt. Biggest lessons that we're trying to avoid here is to safely do all of our job and not get hurt. carry ladders with the butt end first. So basically, you're going to carry the ladder with the side that's going on the ground first. You don't want to carry a roof ladder with the hooks in front and then have to go place it down and then have to flip your ladder. Or an extension ladder or any of those. When performing a one firefighter carry forward on the ladder below eye level. Carrying the forward end of the eye level impedes the carrier's balance and visibility, increases the risk of the butt spur striking someone. Again, when you're carrying it, be mindful of situational awareness, who's around you, what's around you. What safety guidelines should be followed when carrying ground ladders? Perfect. Describe the proper procedure for placing a ground ladder is going to be objective 6. Observe and communicate. Presence of overhead electrical wires and obstructions. Said it again. I'm going to say it some more. Ground conditions. If it just rained for 3 days or it was snowy, we're coming out of a winter day. Somehow it's middle of February and we have 60-degree weather. We're very fortunate for that. The ground might be soggy. It might be squishy. You don't necessarily want to put a ladder in the most squishy spot and it become unstable while you're working on it. Wind direction and speed, while not always thought about, it is something to remember. If it's very windy, you don't want to be standing on a ladder that could blow you sideways and knock you off of it while you're up there. Different structural features, again, that's knowing your building, looking ahead, observing everything, and having a pre-game plan before you raise that ladder. Ladder placement objectives. Position the ladder properly for its intended use. Place butt the proper distance from the building for easy, safe climbing. So basically that means we're going to place the butt far enough out that it still leans up against the building and we're able to climb it safely. We'll go over how to measure that later and with the good quick measurement tool that we can use. You have ventilation. You want to be upwind side of the window. Again, smoke comes out. You don't want the smoke blowing into you. We want to try to avoid that at all costs. Even the window tops, when firefighters need to climb in or out of a narrow window or direct hose streams into them. Now, if you're rescuing somebody, which we're going to be doing later, you want to tip slightly below the window. Again, that's so you can come out and make a smooth transition down the ladder. Wedge the tip under the sill for stability. Extend the ladder 2 or 3 rungs above the sill if there is room to permit. Again, that's not going to be the most effective, but sometimes you have to if you don't have the ability to go right underneath it. Every situation is different. Every rescue is different. Every building's different. Everything's not going to always be textbook. These are your different types of ladder placements. Place ladders near at least 2 points in the different sides of the building. That gives you that secondary egress. If one side's compromised or condemned, something like that, you can get to the other side and have a plan B to get out. Some of the other ones, take advantage of strong points of building construction. If there's a beam there, it's probably a strong point of construction. That place of the building is probably not going to be impeded by structural integrity as much as the middle part over there where there's not as much support. Avoid placing ladders where they may contact overhead obstructions. Have you guys heard that one before? Okay. All right, there's some more. Avoid placing ladders on uneven terrain, soft spots. Again, that squishy yard. It may be good once you're there. Once you get up there and you get more weight on it, it could very easily squish in there, throw it off balanced. Somebody could fall, get hurt. The climbing angle. These are all different types that we've gone over. Again, your most optimal is going to be 75 degrees. So when you have so once you have that ladder butted out, the best way to get that 75 degrees is you're going to stand at the butt of the ladder and you're going to hold your arms straight out. If your arms are roughly straight out, they can be slightly below, they can be slightly above. You would rather them be straight or slightly below. That's going to give you that good 75 degree angle. That's going to be your optimal, safest working angle for being on that ladder. Again, certain expectations happen, different scenes, different stuff like that. You do the best you can, the safest you can. So here you'll see he's got his feet butted against the ladder, so it's not going to slide back on him. He's got his arms straight out ahead. That's telling him that it's a safe working condition. So after they place that ladder, you check that ladder angle, everything's safe, then you can climb. You want to maintain those 3 points of contact. He's got 2 there, 2 there. Once you're climbing, you want to always maintain 3 points of contact. All right, what kind of factors can affect ground ladders placement? Terrain, perfect. All right, so every jurisdiction is different. What may present a different one for you, Owen? I know you got more of a city terrain than me and Nate out here in the country.
A lot of power lines and TV cables going from every house.
I'm glad you brought that up. That brings me to a point I wanted to say earlier. Just because you know or you think or you see that it might not be a power line does not mean it's not a power line. We treat every wire like it is a live power wire. A communications wire for your TV satellite, probably not going to zap you. Don't want to be the one to take the chance. People getting hurt. So that's a good point. Thank you. All right. We're going to secure the ground ladders. We're going to make sure to lock extension ladders before placing the ladder against the obstruction. So we're going to raise it up. I can't go too much higher. So I have these locks in. You raised it up, they're locked. You want to make sure those are locked before you place it against the building. Then you want to check your placement before you climb up. Heel and or secure the ladder with a rope or firm object nearby. Generally speaking, we're going to heel. We work in pairs of twos for the most part, sometimes teams of 3, 4, 5. So when you have someone down there, you're going to heel the ladder. You can stand there heeling it forward with your toes on the butts, at least 1 foot. If someone's working on it, 2 is preferred so you can keep an eye on them. Also, 1 is how you're going to allow them to get up while you're still heeling it. Another way to heel, we'll go over it a little later, is from the underneath side where you stand behind the ladder. It's leaned against the building and you hold it this way, pulling it against the building. By doing so, it stops the ladder from going side to side and bouncing around while that person's climbing it. All right, again, wear complete PPE. Be alert of falling objects and debris. If you have a ladder, that probably means you're going up. Some instances you're going down. If you're at the bottom of the ladder, always be mindful what's at the top. Things fall down, things get hurt. You don't want to make it a habit of just staring up because sometimes you may lose sight of something falling or not see it. Your face isn't as protected as that helmet on top of your head. Stay alert for firefighters descending the ladder. If you're talking, looking around, not paying attention, you're standing there butting that ladder and someone comes down, they may step onto you, they may hurt you, they may then get thrown off the ladder and fall. If they're hitting you, they're probably at a lower ground level, so the fall may not be deadly, but it could still be dangerous, and it affects the outcome of the job. All right, here's the heeling I showed you from underneath side. So he's standing underneath the working ladder. They say bad luck to walk under a ladder. Sometimes you got to do it. That's the best way to heel that ladder. Sometimes that might be sticky, or slippery, that might be soggy, something like that. Some people prefer that method because they're also underneath the ladder, so if something does fall, they're not in the way to get hit. It's basically based off the job or personal preference. So you're going to stand with feet shoulder width apart. You're going to grasp the beams at eye level and pull the ladder towards the building. You're going to look forward, not up when someone's climbing. We'll probably walk through mud, dirt, or carcinogens. You don't want that scraping off their boot and coming down onto you. All right, so here's the heeling ladder that we talked about earlier. From the front, stand outside the ladder, chalk the butt with 1 foot, place the toes against the spur or the bottom rung. You can place it on the bottom rung. It all depends, personal preference, whatever's comfortable for you. You want to do what's most comfortable because that's going to allow you to be the most efficient at that task. All right, tying in. So to prevent the ladder from pulling away, take a piece of webbing, take carabiner, whatever you may have, every department's different. Tie that into the next thing up there. Rope, hose tool, or safety strap ties ladder to a fixed object. Anything works. Doesn't have to be the prettiest, it just has to be efficient. All right, what are 2 methods of securing a ground ladder? Tie in. Butting it, perfect. All right, so we're going to go over the method of raising and lowering a ladder. All right, so raising methods depend on the ladder type and size, the number of personnel available, weather, and topography. So what that means is the ladder size. Again, we're not going to take a roof ladder and we're not going to lower it and raise it with probably 4 people because it's going to be lighter. One of those big 30-plus foot ladders, it's going to be pretty hard to do by yourself, so we want to work with the appropriate number of people. All right. You're going to transition from a carry to a raise. Not necessary to place a ladder flat on the ground prior to raising. We'll go over this later. You can be carrying the ladder. One person can set the butt down. They can heel that ladder. And the other person can raise the ladder from the shoulder position. That allows us to limit the injury of bending over and lifting incorrectly. Only butt end needs to be on the ground. And transition should be done in a smooth, continuous motion. Means when that person places that butt on the ground and the other person has the ladder, we don't want to just go up there and stop. We don't want to be jerky. We want to get over there. We want to do it in a smooth operation, in a smooth manner, and it's going to allow for it to be less top heavy, more controlled, and less likely to fall or slip. All right, one firefighter raises. So you have a single ladder, generally like a roof ladder. He's going to place that on the ground from his shoulder, stand forward, and raise it up. An extension, he's going to place that heel on the ground, lift it up, twist it over, and then put it against the building. 2 firefighter raise. We're going to do this a little later outside. You have the beam raise, which is where you raise it from the beam, just like the name. You have a flat raise where the ladder's on the ground. You're going to pick it up overhead, and you're going to walk it down like monkey bars, rung to rung, all the way down until it's standing up, and then set it to your appropriate height, lean it back. You're always going to coordinate with your partner to do this so that they're not thinking you're going to do something else and you're not doing something they're not expecting. Ladders 35 feet or longer typically require at least 3 firefighters. Again, it's been done, it can be done. Everybody thinks it should be done that way. Use the appropriate number of people. Again, you trying to be Mr. Strongman over there, you're no good if you get hurt and you're no longer useful to the team on the scene. All right, 4 firefighter raise. Not as common. It also depends on what kind of personnel you have on your truck. We only have 3-man truck, so it's very rare that we do the 4-man. But it's a good thing to know. It's used for larger, heavier extension ladders. Flat raise is normally used for this. You don't want to be trying to raise this from the beam, if at all possible, because this ladder is now top heavy on the fly section side. So we're going to lift that from a flat raise so that there's 2 points of contact on the ground, not 1. That's what happens when your ladder's not properly secured. All right. What methods can be used to raise a ground ladder from either 1 or 2 firefighters? There you go. You can do the beam raise or the flat with an extension ladder or both. All right. Pivoting a raised ladder. Again, as you can see, they have this ladder up and they're going to extend it and they're going to get it to the proper height before they place it against the building. Sometimes you may have to move that side to side. You may have got your alignment off and you may not be where you need to be, or you may be told to put it in a different thing or a different position, or different things like wind conditions, smoke conditions, environmental things may cause you to have to relocate that ladder, going back to what we said before. So it's necessary when the fly is also incorrectly positioned or the ladder is flat raised parallel to the building. So you flat raised it and you realized your butt of your ladder and your feet and your spurs are too close. So sometimes you may need to pivot that ladder out so that you can get that appropriate angle. Because what's the degree angle that we're striving to meet on every ladder? 75 degrees. Thank you. So shifting a ladder that is raised should be limited to short distances. We want to limit this to as little as possible, guys. Again, when they're up there, they're top heavy, a strong gust of wind, somebody not grabbing it right, thinking you have it, all of a sudden you don't, and things fall and happen. 1 firefighter can safely shift a single ladder that is 20 feet or shorter. It's generally going to be a roof ladder or a single ladder. Those are your lighter ones. Extension ladders may require 2 firefighters. Again, this one has 3, so let's imagine this third fly is not there, or the second fly, this third one. It's still going to be top heavy. So trying to move that by yourself is going to be harder. So we always want to use those adequate firefighters and help. If you can't do something, request help. It's, again, no good getting hurt or doing it incorrectly and somebody else getting hurt due to that failure. One method is to slide the top ladder sideways against the building, then move the butt into position. All right, so how can a ground ladder be moved once it's already raised and in place?
Stand up and pivot it.
Pivot, right. It's the most common one. All right, so objective 9, we're going to describe how to safely work from a ladder. Okay, climbing ladders, we're going to climb smoothly. We're going to maintain that 3 points of contact. Ascend so that there's at least so that least possible amount of bounce and sway. So you don't want to go running up the ladder and causing that ladder to bounce and jiggle and jerk, causing it to get unsturdy, causing it to get off kilter and tip. We want to go smooth, steady, and look like we know what we're doing even if you don't. Fake it till you make it, right? So check the climbing angle and secure the ladder before climbing. So here you can view. When he stood there, he probably had his 75-degree angle. This gentleman's butting the ladder from the underneath. He's looking down, not up. And this gentleman's maintained at least 3 points of contact. He currently has 4, but when he takes a step, it will be 3. He's looking overhead to make sure nothing's coming in, but he's also got his head down. He's going in a slow, smooth manner, not to jostle it and to cause that other guy to not be able to hold the ladder properly. All right, so these are, again, a list of all the different tips and tricks. We're not going to go over all of them, some of the big ones. Keep arms straight and horizontal. Place the hands on the rungs when not carrying equipment. You don't want to be holding the beam. You don't have much grasp there, a rung. You at least have your hand around and good grasp. Coordinate and your foot movement. That's where we go back to going smooth, slow, and steady. Climb the ladder using leg muscles, not your arm muscles. Okay? Your legs are 3 times more powerful than your arms naturally. Even that guy that's in the gym and all he does is lift on his bicep machine and he got those big arms, his legs, even though he doesn't work them out, are still stronger than your arms. Use your leg muscles. What steps should be taken to safely climb a ground ladder?
Move slow and controlled.
Perfect. Smooth operator. Who sings that song? I know you're a music guy. Smooth operator. Raise your hand, though. All right, so here we go back to securing ourselves to the ground ladder. I talked of 2 methods. We have the leg lock and the ladder belt. Your leg lock, he's going through the rung, out. Some people like to attach it back to that rung. Some people like to attach it on the outside of that beam. You have the ladder belt. He's wearing a belt that just goes around his outer pants with a big carabiner that hooks to the rung that keeps him. That allows him to stand and lean on that ladder and work freely with 2 hands. Same with this gentleman here. It also allows you to not lean too far, but allows you to lean to the side if you need to reach over. You obviously don't want to lean too far. That can cause you to fall, lose your footing, and also cause the ladder to become unsturdy and tip over. So know your working limits while on a ladder. Warning, do not exceed the rated load capacity of the ladder to avoid overloading the ladder. The ladder will allow 1 firefighter on each section of the ladder at the same time. Be careful about stressing the ladder's laddering. Again, goes back to 1 section, 1 person. 2 sections, 2 people, 1 per section. 3 sections, up to 3 people, 1 per section. You don't want me and Owen standing on this top ladder section up here. It's not going to be safe. We may make it through one time, may not make it through either time. Always be mindful. Okay. Carrying tools up and down ladders. When you're doing this, it disrupts your natural motion or natural climbing motion. Just like, anybody ever carried a propane tank? Carry 1 at a time. You're off kilter trying to compensate for that. Even though it's heavier, it's easier to carry 2 propane tanks at one time than it is 1, because now your motion's back to being equal on both sides. So when you're carrying a tool up, be mindful that you don't have as full grasp on this hand as you would the other one. It also may be heavy or may be causing you to lean towards one side. Always be mindful of that and accommodate for that. Hoist rather than carrying when possible. You're not always going to be able to hoist. Sometimes you will have to carry. Make sure you do it safely and properly. But if you can hoist, always hoist rather than carry. And while it's being hoisted, not everybody look up overhead. All right, deploying a roof ladder. So we have a ladder, got 3 rungs. These holes can tell me that he has 3 rungs above the ladder. We have the roof ladder. Once you lift it up, already have your hooks out. You can slide that ladder up and hook it onto the peak of the roof. Now you have a safe working platform on the roof. All right, deploying a roof ladder is going to be just like what I said. we're going to go over it real quickly. You're going to carry the roof ladder with the hooks closed to the extension ladder. You're going to open the roof ladder hooks, climb with the roof ladder, or if you have enough people, they're going to hand you the roof ladder once you're farther up the ladder. Carry roof ladder to the roof, lock with your leg onto the ladder, or using your ladder belt, that's when you would clip in. Place the ladder on its beam. You're going to slide it up the roof's peak, engage the hooks by twisting it with the hooks down over that peak. It's not going to do you any good to have the hooks up in the air because when you let go, it's probably going to slide down, take out you or anybody else underneath you. All right, what methods can be used to deploy a roof ladder on a pitched roof? There you go, just like he's showing here, up on the beam from the extension ladder after it was handed to you. All right, we're going to describe the methods to assist a victim down a ladder. We're going to go over a conscious and unconscious victim, so pay attention to the differences. Assisting a conscious victim. The ladder tip raised just below the windowsill. Ladder is heeled with all loads and activity removed. At least 4 firefighters are needed. You're going to need somebody to butt the ladder. You're going to need somebody to work from the ladder. And you're most likely going to need 2 people inside to lift that patient outside of that windowsill to safely. All right, assisting an unconscious victim. There's 3 different methods. We're going to do this skill outside later. You have the 1 leg method. Then you have the 2 carried method over here. So, assisting a large victim, you may need a second ladder, a second firefighter to assist a heavier, larger person sideways down that ladder. All right, so we will go back to this one. So, this is your most common, most easiest one. This is the one I like to do. An unconscious victim, their face is going to be towards you. You're going to bring them down. You're going to keep them on your leg, and you're going to come down 1 step at a time. You have your other 2 carries here where they're sideways, and the modified one where they're to you or away from you. They're a little bit harder to do, in my opinion, because if they're unconscious, their legs are going to be limp, they're going to be dangling, can throw you off. This one I feel I have the most control because my arms are underneath their armpits, and their legs are over mine, and I have the most control from them going side to side. When we do this later, you can do either method listed. Personal preference for me is the 1-legged lower. So assisting a child, if they're small enough, you should be able to bounce them on your arms while ascending down. So, all right. So, with your unconscious victim, so you have the one knee, the crossbody, and the modified crossbody. So the modified crossbody is where their chest is against the rungs coming down. They're basically the same, just flipped one way or the other. You can do the 1-legged carry with a conscious victim. They're going to be the other way. They're also probably going to try to step down. So if that's the case, then you can assist them down while backing them up, but don't trip them up. Remember, when you are rescuing a conscious or unconscious victim, you are in charge of that. If you need them to do something, you coach them, you direct them because they're probably going to be panicked. They're probably seeing you on the worst day of their life. So how is assisting a conscious victim down a ladder different from assisting an unconscious victim down a ladder? Correct. All right. Are there any questions about this content that we went over today? All righty. So we will take a 10-minute break. You guys can...
When you're assisting a person out, your hands should not leave the rungs at any time.
When you're taking control of that victim, you can guide their body parts using your hand, because at that point you'll be locked in with your leg or your ladder belt. So you'll have those working conditions that you're still tied to that ladder. So once you descend, you'll either unhook or you'll unleg lock. And then what you want to do is you want to keep them in your arms, but you want to keep that contact on the beams going down. And then you want to go down with your feet as well. So yes, that is a good question. All right, we will take a 10-minute break. Be back at 2:50. And we'll get the test started. We'll go over that short quiz.
The Sadie. Smooth operator from electric named Sadie.
Alright. You guys got 3 back here. All right, I think we got one more guy going over a quick little smoke break out there. So we'll give a few minutes for him to come in. He's still got plenty of time, but. Alrighty, so just go over you two later. We're going to go over the 2 firefighter ladder carry and raise and assisting the unconscious victim down a ladder.
Do you have extra pens?
Yes, sorry, I didn't mean to ask that. Looked like we ran a golf tournament in here. I think it's from all of our interviews. Actually, now that I think about it, it's probably what they gave everybody. Oh. Yep. Okay, welcome back from your break. We're going to go over a quick 10-question quiz. No cheating. Fill it out on your own. When you're done, come up here, place it on my desk, and then you can exit out there. I'll call you in one at a time up here to go over your test scores when we're done. After that, we'll load up, we'll go outside, and we'll do the 2 evolutions that we have to do. You may now begin. Yes, make sure you put your name and date on there, because if I don't know whose name, I can't know who to call when.
Was it 60?
Yes, sir. hang out in the hall and I'll call you in when you're good. You can just sit right there. Thank you. You can have a seat in the hallway and I'll call you when you're ready to go over it. All right, just have a seat in the hallway. We'll be with you in just a minute. He's the jokester of the department. All right, Owen. All right, at this time we'll end the in-class session. We'll reconvene outside for the 2 practical skills. All right, so the first one we're going to do is a 2 firefighter ladder carry and raise of a 24-foot extension ladder. We have a 28-footer. We know this based off the number down there. So you're going to do the low shoulder carry method, the beam method, and then we're going to flat raise it. We're going to do that all in one motion. You're going to go, put it up, beam raise, take it down, just like we discussed. We've already inspected the ladder. Everything's good there. Make sure that's on. All right, so I'm going to read off to you what you guys are going to do, and then you can get going on it. So the low shoulder method, you're going to visually inspect the work area for solid level footing overhead and electrical wires and obstructions. You're going to stand at a lifting point near the end of the ladder facing the butt end. You're going to kneel down beside the ladder, grasp the ladder beam, place the ladder beam, communicate with each other on what method to carry to use, when to lift, ladder position, and ladder onto shoulder. Position the ladder for carrying. Secure the upper beam on the shoulder. Lower the butt end of the ladder slightly. Steady the ladder towards both hands. Carry the ladder towards the objective, maintaining complete control of the ladder, working as a team. For the beam method raise, you're going to use that above carry method to raise and lower the ladder for the 2 methods below. You're going to visually inspect the work area for a solid level footing of overhead electrical wires and obstructions. Firefighter closest to the butt end, lower 1 spur of the butt end to the ground approximately 1/4 of the usable height from the building. Firefighter closest to the tip, transition the ladder's bottom beam to shoulder. Firefighter at the butt end, place 1 foot on the lower beam at the butt end. Firefighter at butt end, grasp the upper beam with the hands apart, extend as a counterbalance. Firefighter at the tip, advance down the beam toward the butt end until the ladder is vertical. Both firefighters stand on opposite sides of the ladder. Rotate the ladder until both beams are parallel to the building and the fly section is in the proper position. Firefighter next to the building, untie, grasp the halyard, extend the fly section to the desired elevation. Engage the ladder locks. Place the ladder against the building while maintaining ladder balance. While supporting the ladder against the building, adjust the ladder an appropriate climb angle. So we're going to make sure we got our 75-degree angle. You're going to secure the halyard. You're going to lower the ladder, reversing that raising procedure in the complete opposite direction. Then you're going to go and you're going to do the flat method. You're going to walk it around, come back, and you're going to flat raise it. Visually inspect the work area for solid level footing and overhead obstructions. Both firefighters place the ladder on the ground with the butt end perpendicular to approximately 1/4 the usable height from the building. Firefighter closest to the tip, lift the tip of the ladder and position underneath it. Firefighter at the butt end, heel the ladder. Firefighter at the butt end, crouch and grasp a convenient rug on the bottoms with both hands and lean back. Firefighter at the tip, advance down the ladder using the hand over hand, sliding the hands down the beam towards the butt until the ladder is vertical. Both firefighters stand on opposite sides of the ladder again. Rotate the ladder until both beams are parallel to the building and the fly section is in the proper position. Firefighter next to the building, untie, grasp a halyard, and we're going to extend it to the appropriate height. And then you're going to engage the ladder locks, place the ladder against the building while maintaining ladder balance. While supporting the ladder against the building, adjust the ladder to the appropriate climbing angle. Make sure you're at the 75 degree. If you're not, adjust it so that you are. Secure the halyard. Lower the ladder in the reverse method, and that'll be the end of that evolution. All right, we're going to make sure we got on our safety PPE. We got our steel toe boots, our pants, our coats, our helmets, and our eye protection. We're going to have the chin strap on your helmet done, and you're going to have your gloves on and your coat zipped up. All right, gentlemen, you ready? Who's got the lead? All right, you may begin.
Prepare to lift. Right through. Lift on 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to walk out and around.
Careful with your footing there with the parking cylinders. Working with limited instructions here.
end down. Good. Raise. Looking for overhead obstructions.
Very good.
Good. Turn to raise. 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 Alright, we're gonna rotate. Wait.
You can raise it to the roof.
On the roof.
Yeah. That's good.
Appropriate angle. Three rungs through. Line up this halyard real close.
All right. So we got our appropriate working angle, 3 rungs above the roof. Good to go. We'll lower it down, carry it, come back around, and we'll do the flat method.
Good, right? Yeah.
You want to pull it up and latch it?
You're lower.
Good.
Yep. And down. Alright, we're gonna finish by the ladder. Get on next to the ladder. Prepare to raise. Ready? Lift. Put the ladder on our shoulder. We're gonna walk out and around.
Yeah, that's fine.
Alright, I'm gonna set the butt end down. With that, we're gonna rotate the ladder flat. We're gonna prepare to raise. We're gonna raise the ladder. Being appropriately butted. We're gonna raise the ladder after checking for overhead obstructions.
No overhead obstructions, you're clear.
We're gonna place the ladder in between these 2 windows at the appropriate climbing angle. Oh, look at that. We're going to secure our halyard. We're going to make sure we're at the appropriate angle for climbing.
Perfect.
Unsecure our halyard. We're standing the ladder back up. We're going to lower it. And we're going to lower it to the ground. Good.
Good communication.
Good. Yep. There you are. No. No.
All right, and then set it all the way on the ground, Owen. All right, good job, gentlemen. The only thing I would say is to correct on the next time, on that flat raise, when you go to raise it up, make sure you set it all the way on the ground, and then bend over, pick it up to go overhead. You got it low enough, so I'm okay with it in my eyes. We just want to make sure we want to do it that way. It is a little heavier of a ladder with it being older. We're working with what we got, I understand. All right, next group up.
Who's got the bottom?
You do.
It don't matter. I'm not tired. Why you guys are time so
That's all right.
Do what?
You can end it. All right.
All the way underneath to pick it up, or do you pick it up?
Yeah, you're going to go down to your knees.
So, good.
Yep, go ahead.
Left shoulder.
We're going to go ahead and lift it up here. Stand upright. And we're going left shoulder. Down on your knee. Reach through.
And as you lift, you're going to rotate it up, or you're going to slide it up onto your shoulder.
All right, you ready? Yeah. All right, lift it on 3. 1, 2, 3.
All right.
We're rotating to the right.
All the way around the thing.
Communicate with them for the parking blocks. Go slow. We're working with limited space here, just with the height of the ladder, guys. You're doing good.
And a little bit over here. We're setting it down now. I'm setting it down. Keep yours up.
Go slow, nice and in control. I know it's heavy, guys. Good job.
You got it?
Make sure we're butting that ladder with our feet on that one side just so it don't kick out. Good. You might have to come in a little bit, but
Someone come in before you said it.
yeah, I'd bring it in. You're probably going to need to come in a little bit.
Got this one.
All right. All right.
Check your climbing angle.
Probably need to
Yep. Speak up.
a little bit more.
Come in a little bit more.
Yeah.
Ready?
Good job working as a team. Good unison. All right. So we're gonna. There we go. All right. Halyard secured. Good. Now we'll take it down. Same way you just put it up. Making sure after we lower it all the way down, we re-engage those locks back up before we lower it to carry.
You got it?
Yep.
Other side again. Nice controlled manner. Good, we're locked.
You got it? Yeah. And then we're gonna rotate.
We're gonna rotate or take
No,
it
take it.
We're gonna come around and you're gonna beam lower.
Yeah, so Owen, you butt it. John, you go to the right side and beam lower it.
The beam's gonna come down that way. So
We're gonna come down that.
Yeah, just go down that. That's fine. Go down the way you came up.
Just
Yep.
like that, just like
Yep, you're right.
oh, my bad.
You're good.
that.
So butt the inside with your foot. There you go. Good job. Nice controlled manner.
We'll take it all the way down.
Yep. All right. Now you guys are going to do the same carry method.
Go around.
You're just going to come out here, come back down, you're going to flat raise it. So Owen's going to be the front again. You're going to carry it the same way.
Side to the right shoulder.
Yeah, we can. I mean, we're just gonna go
I
out
mean,
here.
we're gonna go. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, just you're on the right side. Go ahead. The same way you did before. If you need to talk to each other, go slow.
I can't get up from down here.
Alright,
It is a heavy ladder. I know you guys are doing good. There you go. No, you're all right. It's an old school ladder. Just watch your steps walking over. We're always being mindful of the obstructions. Yep. And then we can set it up to go in between the two windows so you don't have to raise it as high going between the ladders. Nice control manner. Rotate it onto the ground. Maintaining control. Very good.
Except we went the wrong way.
No, you're good. You can rotate it up there. So you can either flip it now or you can flip it when you get up there. I would flip it now.
Roll it over to the middle
Yep.
so the beam's on the outside.
All right.
Okay. Now I'm gonna fucking use it.
Yep.
Ready, bro?
All right. Owen, you're going to come to the inside and raise it. That's good. All right. You can maybe go one more rung. All right. You should be good there. All right. Check your levels. Our angle good. Looks good to me. We're going to tie that halyard off. All right, good job. We'll undo it. Lower it down. All right, Owen, you're going to butt both ends. Good job. Both feet. John, you're going to go back, and you guys are going to set it down on the ground flat and be done. One more rung. All right. Keep butting it. We're going to set it down in a controlled manner. Good deal, gentlemen. Good job. We're good. All right. So this next evolution is assisting an unconscious victim down a ladder. I'm going to speak now. We've checked, make sure that this railing is good. It's going to makeshift as our windowsill. We just don't have anything high enough that we're going to be able to adequately use as a window with the height of the ladder. So we're making do with what we got. It's going to simulate the bottom of a windowsill. We're going to imagine that we're working in the same platform of a window. So, step one, the student's going to climb the ladder, position to receive the victim. Position is going to be received facing the rescuer. Maintain control of the victim by using one of the three methods listed above. Descends the ladder one rung at a time while supporting the victim during the descent. Complete the descent in a controlled manner. Okay? So one person's going to butt the ladder, one person's going to go up. You can choose to butt it from down there or from the underneath side, whichever way you prefer. Nathan, you're up first. Owen, you're going to butt the ladder. Make sure we're giving the victim face out. Yeah, face out. Face towards the rescuer. There you go. All right, so he's going to receive the rescuer. He's going to receive the victim. He's going to control down in a slow, controlled manner.
Three, two, one.
All right. Perfect.
I fucked the left leg up and let it straddle that.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's the way I prefer. All right, Owen, if you're ready, Nathan, you're going to butt the ladder. Nice, smooth ascend. Prepared to receive the victim. Great. Owen, if you want to take that up there, or after you set it down, you're right. My apologies. All right. Great job. You're going to set it up there. John's going to come down. I believe he said he's going to do the one knee method. You guys are doing great. All right, Nathan's going to butt the ladder. John, you're going to ascend and retrieve the victim, and then bring him down. You may begin. There you go. Good control. The one knee method that I like. Make sure we keep that knee up there and slide him down with your knee. There you go. There you go. That way we can maintain control. Good job.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Last rung.
ground.
All right. Turn over, place your victim on the ground. All right. That's going to be it. Owen, if you want to come down, we'll have a quick debriefing. You guys can unbutton your coats, take your helmet off, stuff like that. We're done with the evolutions. Yeah. You got it. It sticks sometimes. There you go. All right. Gentlemen, good job. I know it's a little tough to work with than what we're normally dealing with this ladder here. We are dealing with some limitations, but you guys did awesome for what we had. I appreciate you coming out. So what we learned today was we learned how to take proper maintenance of the ladder, setting it up, raising, carrying, all that stuff. We learned how to properly retrieve a victim. You demonstrated putting the ladder up. Did everything good. You all passed today. Is there any questions you got before we dismiss? All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Good job.